my name is Miguel Hernandez, and I was diagnosed in 2005 with ALL, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And how I found out was I got real tired when I would play basketball. I was about 285 pounds. I was a big guy, and I figured I was just fat. I needed to lose weight. So I couldn't catch my breath after like one game. I was tired. And then at night I'd have a low-grade fever, and I was like, this is weird. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor's like, it's maybe the flu, but we're gonna do some blood work. And then like 2 days later, he called, hey, you need to come in. We have some results for you. So I went in, I brought a friend with me. I was like, hey, come with me, just for the ride, just to be there. And the doctor's like, hey, we think we have ALL. So I was like, what's that? Like acute lymphoma, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. I mean, I kind of did, but I didn't, just because cancer runs strong in my mom's family. And so I was like, hey, what's crazy is 2 weeks earlier, I was talking to one of my friends, and we're just chatting. And I was like, you know what, man? It's weird. Everybody in my family has something going on. I was like, watch, I'm gonna get cancer or something. And what happens? It's just weird the way that happened. But anyway, so, the doctor's like, you can either go see a hematologist, or you can just go to the ER and get it checked out. So I went to the local ER, Southeast Memorial, and then they confirmed it. And they're like, yeah, you do have cancer. So I stayed there for a couple of days, and then luckily my mom had insurance on me, which was like a month before I got diagnosed, which is crazy. It's a huge blessing that happened. And so they took me straight to MD Anderson, where they took me in there, started doing biopsies on me and spinal taps and stuff. So, but yeah, MD Anderson right there saved my life. And let's see, 2005 was whenever I got diagnosed. And probably in September or October of 2005 was whenever they were like, hey, you're in remission, but we still got to fight it aggressively and finish throughout the treatment, throughout the courses. So come February or March of 2006 was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go back to school and I'm gonna go get a job and pay for it myself. So I was going to school at San Jacinto College, and I was taking criminal justice courses. That way, as soon as I turned 21, I was gonna go to the police academy. My uncle was gonna get me under HPD. And yeah, that was my dream job I wanted to do. Then come November, it was either October or November, I wasn't feeling good, started getting headaches. I went to the doctor, they did an MRI of my head, and I think I did a couple CAT scans. It took a while. I was I just wasn't feeling too well. Then the way I was told I had to go back for cancer for treatment was I received a phone call from the admissions office. And they were like, hey, Miguel, we're admitting you to the hospital for this and that. I was like, huh? What are you talking about? They're like, yeah, you're being admitted. I was like, oh, okay. And then I called my doctors. I was like, hey, what's going on here? They're like, oh, I'm sorry, you had to learn that, find out that way. But yes, your leukemia's back. And it's in your spinal cord and your the cerebral spinal fluid. So that then they were like, your best option now is for stem cell transplant. So my family got tested, which I have three full blood siblings, and I have a half sister. So they all got tested, and out of my siblings, 2 of them were matches, my sister and my brother. And you hear stories about patients that have maybe like 10 siblings and no matches, and I was very blessed to have 2. And so my best chance are like male, so my brother ended up being my donor. And I know he had to go through a lot as well, which like with the Neupogen shots, which increases your white blood cells. And it's through your major bones, which is like your breastplate and everything. So the pain is just, it hurts so bad, the pain, whenever you're taking this Neupogen. It hurts a lot, to say that. And so I know what he had to go through, I'm very fortunate that he did. And so, I had to stay in the hospital for, I believe it was like 30 or 90 days after I got the transfusion and the transplant. And so from there, I was doing well, but then I started to develop avascular necrosis, and all that was from the steroids that I had to use, to help fight the cancer as part of the treatment. So I've had both hips replaced. My right hip has been replaced like once because I had a loose screw and it caused an infection. So they had to go back in and they had to put an antibiotic spacer in instead of the prosthetic. I had to wear that for 6 weeks, and then 6 weeks later they went back in and put the actual prosthetic in there. And that was hell. But and then I've had a left shoulder replacement. And right now I could probably use a right shoulder replacement. It looks bad on x-ray, but it's not hurting me as bad. But my knees are also now starting to get necrosis in my knees, and it's just been hell. And it took me a while to get on disability. I went back into I started work. I went to culinary school in 2012. I started feeling good and everything, and I actually got through with this state program. It was called DARS, and they help people get back into the workforce, whether it's some kind of rehabilitation or whatever, and they get you into school and they help pay for it. And so my thing was, hey, I want to be a chef, but they're like, oh no, we can't help you with culinary school. You're not going to be able to do it. You're going to have to stand and just stand for long hours and do all this reaching. And I was like, no, but that's what I want to do. They're like, no, we can't do that. And I was like, okay. And another one of my dreams was to be a chef. And I remember growing up telling my dad, hey, I want to go to culinary school. And he was like, son, I'm not paying for that shit. He said, you want culinary school? You go to Burger King, you go to McDonald's, there's your culinary school. I was like, damn, Dad, all right. So, so anyway, so I was like, you know what? The hell with this, I'm gonna go and apply. So I took a tour of the Artist Institute of Houston, and it actually happened by chance. This girl, she's ended up being my best friend's wife now. Well, she called me from the Art Institute, and she's like, hey, you were interested in the culinary arts program? I was like, no, but this is weird. All right, yeah, sure, I was back in the day. So she's like, come take a tour. Took a tour, and I was like, cool, sign me up, let's get signed up. Later on I find out that my best friends dated her, and then they ended up getting married and stuff, which is pretty cool. It was a weird coincidence.
Love that.
But so I started going to school, and I graduated in 2014 with honors, whatever, cum laude. And so I started going into the workforce, back into, I worked at a couple hospitals and a medical center, and a couple hotels as well. I'm not gonna mention any names. And but then I wanna say it was 2017 or 18 I was walking downtown to one of my jobs, and I tripped and I fell and hit the side of my head, but then also on my right hip. And I was already having troubles and issues with my hip and waiting for another surgery. Well, that one ended up like having my doctors hurry up and went on ahead and just scheduled the surgery after that. And ever since then, I've still been having pain. It didn't fix anything. All they were able to do, there was no infection, so all they were able to do is remove a couple of bone spurs and cartilage, and that was about it. And so even now, I still have pain in my right hip or even in my knees, but after seeing them for years and everything, now they're like, your option is you can either graft versus host disease, or it's just, you just got to live with it. Or if you want to do surgery, we can, but we're not guaranteeing anything. It could be any worse now. It can cause you more pain, or you can just deal with the pain you have now. And so, I'm on disability now. It took me a good 2.5 years to get on it because I kept getting denied. I got an attorney, and then, thankfully I was able to get back on it. And, nowadays, right now, I really don't do too much. I do a little catering once in a while for friends or families, just something I love to do, especially with barbecuing. That's one of my my things I like to do is smoking meats. You know, it's a little Texas thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, other than that, you know, then when I got in touch with Jonah with Real Cause Fishing through a friend of mine, I'm not going to say her name, but her daughter is going through cancer right now, and she has acute lymphoblastic leukemia, the same as mine, ALL. And it's just terrible to see the young kids going through it, especially at that age. Anyway, so I help, or I share her stories on Facebook, and you know, I went to school with her too. But whenever she got me in touch with Jonah, she's like, "Hey, check this out. You know, would you be interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know, why not? You know, I'm not doing anything, so sure." And she gave me his number, and then I was like, I don't know, kind of, I'll wait to see if he calls. Well, he called the next day, and of course I didn't answer because I didn't recognize the number, like another bill collector or something. And they called back again, I answered, and got in touch with him, and here we are today. We went on a fishing trip, first time fishing, and it's been a blast, and it's honestly a blessing to get out here and definitely have a change of scenery. So.
How many fish did you catch today?
I caught about, I don't know, maybe 12.
Too many.
Too many little ones. None were keepers though, so they were all small.
One of yours were keepers. The speckled trout you got, one of them was.
Oh, okay, maybe one was a keeper. But the other ones were just throw them back. But definitely had fun. I'm definitely gonna have to go and get a pole now and hook up with my brother and friends. Like, hey, let's go fishing. Let's do it. I'm down for another trip.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's been a blessing meeting these guys, and yeah, it's awesome. It's cool people.
How about Mr. Kennedy on the guy?
Oh yeah, he was awesome. I thought he was actually like a tour guide or actually a professional charter boat, because yeah, he knew all the spots and everything. He was honest and everything too as well. You know, like you said, he's not like, hey, here, we're gonna catch fish right here. It's like, hey, and also I was an amateur, so he helped reel out my poles as well, and I just brought them in. So, but yeah, it's been a true blessing, and I appreciate you guys for everything. Thank y'all.